ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शांति शांति शांति। Namaskar my dear friends. This is ninth video on Vedas and Upanishads. In this video I am going to describe Brahma as creator, preserver and destroyer of the universe. The very definition of Brahma, Saguna Brahma, is understood in the Vedanta Sutras is, as we have stated, Janma Dasya Yataha, Janma Adi Asya Yataha. Whence is the origin, continuance and dissolution of the universe? The Taittiriya Upanishad puts it in this way, that whence these beings are born, that by which when born they live, that into which at death they enter, try to know that is Brahma. The Chandogya Upanishad reveals Tajjalan as a secret name of Brahma by which he should be worshipped. The meaning of the formula is this. From this Tad Brahma, the universe has arisen Ja. So on the reverse path to that by which it has arisen, it disappears. Li. Into this identical Brahma, and in the same way, finally it is Brahma in whom the universe, after it is created, breathes, lives and moves. Therefore, in the three periods, past, present and future, the universe is not distinct from Brahma. The formula succinctly summarizes the principal attributes of Brahma as creator, preserver and destroyer of the universe. In the same Upanishad, the teacher, wishing to explain the root of the universe, asks the pupil to bring a fruit of the banyan tree. Here is one, sir. Break it. It is broken, sir. What do you see there? The seeds almost infinitesimal. Break one of them. It is broken, sir. What do you see there? Not anything, sir. The teacher then gives the instruction, my son, that subtle essence which you do not perceive there, in that very essence, this great banyan exists. Believe it, my son, that which is the subtle essence in it, all that exists has its self. It is the true. It is the self, and thou, O Svetketu, art it. The Katha Upanishad describes the universe as the eternal Asvatha tree rooted in Brahma with its shoots spreading downward. Brahma alone, as the inmost essence of things, preserves them all. He is the sun dwelling in the bright heavens. He is the air dwelling in the interspace. He is the fire dwelling on earth. He is the guest dwelling in the house. He dwells in man, in the gods, in truth, in the sky. He is born in the water, on earth, in the sacrifice, on the mountains. He is the true and the great. He indeed is the Deva who pervades all regions. He is the firstborn as Hiranya Garbha, and he is the womb. He has been born and he will be born. He stands behind all persons, looking everywhere. The God who is in fire, the God who is in water, the God who has entered into the whole world, The God who is in the plants, the God who is in trees, adoration be to that God adoration. We have seen that Brahma is described in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad as a setu, which means both bridge and dike. As bridge, he connects one being with another and the present world with the future world as dike. He keeps asunder these worlds to prevent their clashing together. On account of him, there is no confusion in the world of diversity. Everything moves along its allotted path. Brahma is the womb into which the universe again returns. Hence he is called the destroyer. The Vedantists have formulated a doctrine of cycles by which is described the unceasing process of creation and destruction, or more precisely, manifestation and non-manifestation. The action of one's present life find their recompense in the next life. Again, the present life is the result of the preceding one. Therefore, each existence presupposes an earlier one, and consequently, no existence can be the first. The rebirth of the soul, Jiva, has been going on from all eternity, and so samsara or the relative universe is without beginning. Indeed, it is absurd to speak of the beginning of a causal chain when the Upanishads speak of a beginning or creation. They mean really the beginning of the present cycle. From all eternity, the universe has been going periodically into a state of non-manifestation and then again returning into the manifest state of names and forms. At the conclusion of each cycle, the universe and all those living beings that have not been liberated from Maya return to Brahma, that is to say, to his Prakriti or primordial nature. At the end of his cycle, all beings, O son of Kunti, enter into my Prakriti, and at the beginning of his cycle, I generate them again. The Rig Veda says the Lord creates in the cycle the sun and moon as they existed in the previous cycle. So creation is a never-ending process following an invariable monotonous pattern. It has been compelled to following an invariable monotonous pattern. It has been compelled to the breathing out and in of the cosmic person, reposing on the ocean of the great cause. In him, the universe is interwoven. Whatever moves or is motionless in him, everything disappears like bubbles in the ocean. In him, the living creatures of the universe, emptying themselves, become invisible. They disappear and then come to light again, like bubbles rising to the surface. For there is one Rudra only, they do not allow a second, who rules all the world by his powers. He stands behind all persons, and after having created all the worlds, he, the protector, rolls them all up at the end of time. He, like Akasa, is everywhere, and at the destruction of the universe, he alone is awake. From Akasa again, he rouses all this world. In me the universe had its origin, in me alone the whole subsists. In me it is lost. This Brahma, the limitless, it is I myself. The individual self liberated from Maya merges in Brahma. The self is always Brahma. Before its manifestation as the individual soul, and also during the state of embodiment. When it knows its true nature, knowingly it becomes Brahma or pure consciousness again. The cosmic soul. Some of the oft repeated epithets of Saguna Brahma in the Upanishads are Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, Virat, Prana, and Sutratma. They all, in a general way, denote the world soul, the cosmic mind, or the cosmic person. According to later Vedantists, when the absolute or pure consciousness becomes conditioned by the upadhi of the gross universe, it is called Virat. When conditioned by that of the subtle universe, it is called Hiranyagarbha, and when conditioned by that of the causal universe, it is called Prana or Sutratma. In the writings of Vedantists, however, these terms are often interchanged. Hiranyagarbha or Brahma is mentioned in the Rig Veda as the firstborn when Brahma becomes conditioned by Maya. He is the first entity endowed with the consciousness of individuality, who creates the god Brahma in the beginning and who communicates to him the Vedas also. He is called Brahma masculine and is differentiated from Brahma neuter. He is the golden egg containing in potential from the future manifold universe. In contrast with the Jiva, the individualized consciousness who is conscious only of his own soul, Brahma is conscious of all souls. The totality of all being is his individuality, Sarvabhimani. It is implicit in the Upanishadic teachings that the entire objective universe is possible only insofar as it is sustained by a knowing subject. Though this knowledge subject is manifested in all individual subjects, yet it is not by any means identified with them. Individual subjects come into existence and die, but the universe continues to exist. Who then is its perceiver or knower? It is Brahma or Hiranyagarbha, who is the eternal knowing subject by which the universe is sustained. All living beings respond to more or less like manner to the outside world and experience the same sensations because their individual minds are controlled by the cosmic mind of Brahma, and also they are part and parcel of him. When at the end of a cycle Brahma dies, the universe dies with him. Though identified with all minds and the entire universe, Brahma is also described as the presiding deity or governor of a special plane or heaven, known as Brahmaloka, the plane of Brahma. This is the most exalted realm in the relative universe and may be compared in a general way to the heaven of the dualistic religions. Those fortunate mortals who, while living on earth, worship Saguna Brahma with whole souled devotion, meditating on their identity with him, proceed after death to Brahmaloka, where they dwell absorbed in contemplation of Saguna Brahma. There they experience uninterrupted peace and blessedness and take part in the cosmic life of Brahma. They are not affected by any of the shortcomings of the other relative planes, such as disease, pain, thirst, or hunger. These inhabitants of Brahmaloka do not come back to earth, but at the end of the cycle become absorbed together with Brahma in the attributeless Brahma and thus attain final liberation. This is described as karma mukti or liberation attained by stages. There is another class of devotees who also attain to Brahmaloka after death but come back to earth for a new embodiment after reaping the results of their meritorious actions. They are those who have performed 100 horse sacrifices and also those who have lived according to the scriptural injunctions the life of a brahmachari until their death. The path to Brahmaloka lies through what has been described in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, stanza 24, as the Devyana or way of the gods, which is characterized by various luminous stages such as flame, day, the bright fortnight of the moon, the bright half of the year when the sun travels northward, the sun and lightning. It is also called the northern path. There is another path called the Pitriyana, the way of the fathers, or the southern path which leads to Chandraloka, the plane of the moon. To it go after death those householders who have performed their daily obligatory duties and worship the gods following the scriptural rules with a view to enjoying the results of their meritorious actions in this lower heaven. The path leading to Chandraloka is characterized by dark stages such as smoke and not flame, night and not day, the dark fortnight of the moon and not the bright, and the months of winter and not of summer. After enjoying the results of their meritorious actions in this lower heaven, souls come back to earth and are born as ordinary mortals. What happens to those who have attained complete self-knowledge while living here on earth, and also to those who have committed very vile actions will be discussed later. Brahma's universal form known as Virat has been described in sublime language in the Hindu scripture. Whence the sun rises and whither it goes to set, in whom all the devas are contained and whom none can ever pass beyond, from whom all works, all desires, all odors and tastes proceed. He who embraces all this, who never speaks and is never surprised. The universe is his body. A hymn of the Rig Veda addressed to the Purusha, the cosmic person, describes his universal form in the following manner. The Purusha has 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 feet. He covers the universe on all sides and transcends it by the measure of 10 fingers. All this, the past, the present, and the future, is indeed the Purusha. He alone is the Lord of all, mortal and immortal. Its hands and feet are everywhere. Its eyes and head are everywhere. Its ears are everywhere. It stands encompassing all in the world. The heavens are his head, the sun and moon. His eyes, the quarters, his ears, the revealed Vedas. His speech, the wind is his breath. The universe, his heart. From his feet is produced the earth. He is indeed the inner self of all beings. This universal form comprises not only our earth and the galactic system to which it belongs, but all the 14 worlds of the Hindu mythology, the seven above and the seven below, and all the animate and inanimate creatures dwelling therein, including gods and angels, man and animals, birds and insects, trees, plants, shrubs and creepers. This totality is the Lord's universal form, the great Lord Maheshwara. The Upanishads sometimes describe Saguna Brahma as the highest supreme Lord of lords, the highest deity of deities, the master of masters. He has duly allotted to the eternal world creators their respective duties. Who are these eternal world creators? The Upanishads certainly do not believe in many gods or ultimate realities. Brahma is one and without a second, to whom there is nothing superior, from whom there is nothing different, than whom there is nothing smaller or larger, who stands alone. Beyond the Purusha there is nothing. This is the end, the supreme goal. Who then are these numerous lords, and what is their relationship to the Supreme Lord? The answers to these questions have been elaborated in the Puranas but already indicated in the Upanishads. Let us try to understand the subject by the analogy of modern astronomy. The Brahmananda or egg of Brahma described by the Hindu seers may be likened without pressing the comparison too far to the solar system. The name is derived from its shape, which is oval like an egg or more precisely elliptical. There are, according to the rishis, innumerable Brahmans which constantly appear and disappear in the ocean of the great cause Mahakarana. The planets and their satellites, which revolve with the Sun as their center, constitute our solar system. The Earth, which is a tiny speck in comparison with the Sun, is one of the planets. The Moon is a satellite of the Earth. Other planets also have their satellites. These satellites move along their orbits with the planet as their centers, and the planets move with the Sun as their center. The eclipse which determines the boundary of the solar system may be called the Sun's circumference. Countless stars shine in the firmament of the night, and yet only a few of all that exist come within the ken even of the most powerful telescope. It takes many, many years for the light of a star traveling at the rate of 186,000 miles per second to reach the Earth. It is said that the light of some stars has not yet reached us. Each is a sun, most of them many times larger than our own sun. Probably many are the centers of their own solar system, having their own planets and satellites. No one can count or even estimate the number of solar systems in the creation. The earth sports life in various forms, and there is no reason to suppose that such life exists only here. The Hindu seers state that life is to be found, it may be in different forms, in other solar systems also, but such knowledge of course is beyond the verification of physical science as it is known to us at the present time. The Brahmananda, cosmic egg of the Puranas, may be likened to a single solar system. Each Brahmanda has its own lord, its governor or controller, who, needless to say, is a manifestation in Maya of Brahma or the Absolute. This Lord or Ishvara has three aspects. As Brahma, he creates; as Vishnu, he preserves; and as Shiva, he destroys. These three form one Lord or God who is known by three different names according to his three functions. Since the Brahmandas are without number, so too are the Brahmas, Vishnus, and Shivas without number. The Purana say Purana says one may be able to count the number of sands on the seashore, but one cannot count the number of the Brahmandas or the deities controlling them. He who is the Lord of these countless deities is Maheswara or the Supreme Lord. Saguna Brahma. Brahmas, Vishnus, and Shivas are innumerable, but Maheswara is one and without a second. Each Ishvara is the Lord of one Brahmanda alone, but Maheswara is the Lord of all Ishvaras and also of the millions of Brahmandas. Endowed with infinite power, Brahma is the Lord of Lords. He is the Emperor, and the Ishvaras are kings, more or less autonomous in their respective realms. Further, under each of the Ishvaras are many subsidiary deities performing various duties in the Brahmanda. Thus, there are innumerable Brahmandas in the creation, each with its independent ruling lord, and under him in each universe many subsidiary deities. And at the end of all is Maheswara, the King of Kings. Maheswara is sometimes called the Eternal Lord, Nitya Iswara and Iswara, sometimes the Created Lord, Jnana Iswar, Jnana Iswar. The latter is known also by the general name of Brahma, whereas the former is Saguna Brahma. Brahma is the first created being in the relative universe. Brahma, the maker of the universe and the preserver of the world, was the first among the Devas. He who first creates Brahma and delivers the Vedas to him, the firstborn, the offspring of austerity. Brahma revealed the knowledge of the Vedas to Hiranyagarbha, Hiranyagarbha to Manu, and Manu to his offspring. Rudimentary matter, the first stage in the manifestation of the relative universe, was evolved from Saguna Brahma himself. This matter is sometimes called the primeval waters, the unmanifested Prakriti. Brahma saw Hiranyagarbha arise from these waters. As we have noted above, the sun is the center of a solar system or Brahmanda. The Lord of the Brahmanda is described as dwelling in the sun. The Upanishads often describe him as the person in the sun. The person that is seen in the sun, I am he, I am. He indeed, or nourisher, lone traveler of the sky, controller or sun, offspring of Prajapati, gather your rays, withdraw your light. I would see through your grace. That form of yours which is the fairest, I am indeed he. That Purusa who dwells there, this person in the sun is sometimes called Vishnu because he pervades all the entire solar system. Here is a further description of the deity. Now that person, bright as gold, who is seen within the sun with golden beard and golden hair, golden altogether to the very tips of his nails. Who is this person dwelling in the sun, and why is the solar deity called a person? Shankaracharya, in his commentary on the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, states that he, Prajapati, is like a person being endowed with a head, hands, and other parts. He was the first to be created. The Prajapati of the present cycle had practiced meditation in a previous cycle and performed Vedic rites with a view to occupying the position of the Lord in the next cycle. Others too had done the same, but among them all, he was the first to be freed from such obstacles as gross ignorance and attachment. What this means is this, that in the previous cycle many aspirants practiced spiritual disciplines but did not attain complete liberation because they still possessed traces of desire and attachment. Of these, the most advanced was reborn in the present cycle as the Prajapati of the Brahmananda in which capacity he now enjoys great power and bliss. But this position of Dharma must not be confused with the attachment of the highest God, good or liberation, for even he is said to be afflicted by fear and unhappiness. His life is impermanent, lasting for the duration of a Brahmanda. His position, though an exalted one, still belongs to the relative world. Only the courageous aspirant who can renounce the position of Dharma, which is non-eternal, can attain the highest good. To give a brief outline of this interpretation of the creation in the beginning, that is to say, before the evolution of names and forms, time and space, Atma or Brahma alone exist. Then it becomes conditioned by Maya, its own inscrutable power. At the time, Dharma is called Saguna Dharma, Maheswara or the Great Lord. The idea of creation arises in his mind. Sa ek sata, he thought. Then Dharma, on account of Maya, forgets as it were its infinite nature and regards itself as an individual entity. It says, I am one, I shall be many. Three moments are to be distinguished in creation. First, the Supreme Brahma accepts the limitation of Maya and becomes Maheswara. Second, the desire for creation arises in his mind. Third, he feels his loneliness and decides to multiply himself. Then, with the help of Maya, he creates Akasa, air, and other elements. Maheswara, who is the ruler of all the Brahmandas, is thus the first person in the creation. Hiranyagarbha or Brahma, who, as a result of spiritual disciplines practiced in a previous cycle, becomes the ruler of a Brahmanda, is the second person. Though possessed of an individuality, he identifies himself with the whole universe. He is described in the Vedas as endowed with innumerable heads, innumerable eyes, and innumerable feet. And the Godhead dwelling in every heart is the third person. He is Antaryamin or inner guide. So I end this video here. Next video number 10 will start with microcosm and macrocosm. So thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friends.